Okay friends, we are filling the freezers and prepping the food and doing the things. We have discount pomegranates. We have, oh my, can I get it? I don't know how many pounds of grapes this is. It's probably 20 or so pounds of grapes. I just showed these in my cheapest grocery store in America, Sharp Shopper and John Henry General Store haul. The video that was before this one, they were $3 a bag. They're 2 pounds or so a bag, but we are gonna get prepping a ton of food this afternoon. Okay, these may be Aldi bags, but these are not items from Aldi. I have actually 5 gallon bags of peppers that we harvested in 2022, organic peppers from a friend's garden. I want to use these this afternoon to make my favorite stuffed pepper soup. I would love to have enough to get some meals out of that this week and get some for the freezer. And then I have a butternut squash that needed used. We're gonna prep that up. I've got 2 giant sweet potatoes. We're gonna wash those and get those cooking. I have 2 ham bones in the freezer I wanna do some ham bone soup out of. This one's from 23 and this one's from spring 22. So we're gonna make magic happen with those. And then I grabbed 2, 4, 6, so 12 pounds of ground beef. That'll go with the stuffed peppered soup and also other adventures. Okay, so my meal prep is going. Oh, and I think I wrote soap. That's fun. Soup. And what do I call this one? Low carb unstuffed pepper casserole. Okay. Unstuffed pepper. Alright, just pulling my recipes together here. Got out the whiteboard, just made myself a rough list. I want to do the stuffed peppered soup, and I made the A into a U to make it soup and not soap. We also have what we need to do unstuffed peppered casseroles. I want to do ham bone soup and also beef steak and peppers. We're going to do a whole lot of Mega Massive, fruit prep and veggie prep. We're gonna do some muffins. I just wrote 8 to 10 dozen there. We'll see how it all works out in the end. 3 different muffin ideas for what I quickly have around here is pumpkin banana muffins, chocolate banana muffins, also some applesauce muffins. Do a bunch of our peanut butter and jellies for the freezer and prep grilled cheese for the freezer because we're never mad when we have that. And also prep a bunch of French toast for the freezer. I just wrote some rough numbers to get us going. And I'm going to do a double batch of the stuffed peppered soup. I have it written out for a large slow cooker, but again, I want more. So we're gonna go for 8 pounds of ground beef with this. And then for the unstuffed bell pepper casserole, this recipe makes 2 9x13s. I'm gonna double the meat and the ingredients. So we'll go for 6 pounds of ground beef here. So it's about 14 pounds of ground beef we need to pre-cook. And let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Yeah, so I need to go get 1 more roll of ground beef. And also, while we're downstairs getting ground beef out of the freezer, I'll get some steak to defrost too. Alrighty, so let's see. So again, we've got bones that we need to contend with. I want to get some broth going. I just want 1 more of these. And then, okay, yeah, stew meat is more what I think we have that we can work with. Right, so I've got 2 pounds of stew meat here, another 2 pounds, that's 4 pounds of stew meat. In here, just keeping on top of things, I've got 1 2-pound sirloin roast left, and then I have 1 3.75 pound chuck roast. Then the rest of this, I've got probably 8 packs of beef liver, 2 beef heart. I've got 1 tongue here, and I have another one. I know I have another beef tongue in here somewhere. So we got those things to work with. I have, besides the bags of bones, a lot of these beef soup bones. I believe these are from the leg. I'm not sure how these cook up. I know it has the marrow. It's probably the same as that, I don't know how you say it, osso, bucco maybe. It's probably that cut. So that's good to know what I have. So again, ground beef, brisket, bones, 2 roast, and other odds and ends pieces. So I guess this sirloin roast I might use for beef and peppers too. big cooking projects, things I want to get done, I have to find an entry point. And so if nothing else, if I can start by getting this 14 pounds of ground beef cooked, that will go a long way into making a humongous amount of stuffed peppered soup plus unstuffed peppered casseroles. Hope to get several of those done. I have other meat now that I have set out. And this is very much a fly by the seat of my pants meal prep. Now this morning, before I went to the John Henry General Store and I was looking over my day and I was thinking about the items that I had just purchased between Costco and Sharp Shopper yesterday and John Henry today, and I was getting my meal plan prepping and going this month, I thought about all those years that I did peanut butter and jellies for the freezer, and we even prepped those meat and cheese sandwiches for the freezer, which just seems so elementary, but it is so very helpful when we have them. Even having the bread with the cheese on the bread. Ready to go, you take it out, you can do sheet pan oven grilled cheese. Lots of great options with it. So this morning I did put in a Walmart grocery delivery order. I got 24 loaves of bread total, 2 different great value brands that at least have no high fructose corn syrup. I plan to do a dozen loaves of French toast for the freezer and a dozen loaves of PB&J or cheese sandwiches. We may even throw some meat and cheese sandwiches in there. Now, so far this month for groceries for my household of 10, I have spent a little over $936. And again, within that, I didn't have to do major meat purchases. I did purchase, I believe it was 40 pounds of chicken from Costco. Just the boneless, skinless chicken breast. I have not purchased those in a while. Need to shake the dirt from the community garden out of those Aldi bags. So with that little bit of over $900, there wasn't a huge meat expense. So before anything else too exciting happens, I want to get this ground beef cooking. I'll probably use both big cast iron pans to get that going in. And I was just working on defrosting them enough to get them out of their packaging. I will work on cooking them through from frozen. And we're just going to get all of this ground beef going in the big cast iron pan there. I get questions about how I take care of my cast iron. So after we wash them, I generally rub them down with olive oil or sometimes coconut oil or tallow, and then I put them in the oven at about 350 for about 5 minutes or so. It's not fantastic when I forget about them and leave them in there, but that definitely happens, and it definitely fills the kitchen with, hey mom, you left a cast iron in the oven for too long aroma. Thank goodness we have some fans, and that usually helps pull it out. So I'm juggling 2 pounds of ground beef at this time. I've also pre-cooked big batches of ground beef in my stock pots and also in my favorite red goose pot. That's about 16 quarts there. All of these items you can pre-cook ground beef in for big cooking days. If I was doing even a larger batch, like if I was doing 20 to 30 pounds of ground beef ahead of time, which I have certainly done before, one option I would have, and that I've also done before, is to pre-cook all the ground beef in the roaster oven. And sometimes I've also pre-cooked my ground beef between Instant Pots and a couple different slow cookers if I just want to set it and forget it. But on this day, I had time to be in the kitchen and get this prep work done. But that's some of the ways, just some little tips there. That's some of the ways I've snuck around to do some freezer meal prep, is to utilize my other appliances that don't need me to babysit them quite as much. I always look for the easy win. So I just washed this bowl that the ground beef was in. Many of you have told me that my water pressure looks low in this sink. So thankfully I do have a local plumbing business on text, and it's on my list, on my mama to-do list. And filming just reminded me, oh yeah, you all said my water pressure is low, so hope that's all okay. Seems okay in the other sink. Anyway, we have 2 more giant sweet potatoes. Good thing me and several of my folks love sweet potatoes, so this is gonna be an easy meal prep win. We'll wash them. I'll put a little olive oil in a slow cooker and we will just let them slow cook for the afternoon. And that will be fantastic. I might even do the same with this butternut squash. I'm starting to lose it at the end there, but I think I need to use it. And if I had butternut squash prepped for the week, me and probably three to four in this household, 3 to 4 would eat some butternut squash, and about 5 to 6 would eat some giant sweet potatoes. Again, I have a household of 10. Which means all kinds of preferences and such.
And that's why I make a lot of food and we have a lot of food options. So if somebody wants some butternut squash and some pepper steak and some strawberries, there you go, it's prepped. If somebody wants some grapes instead, there's enough of us. Even if I was only, I'm using only in air quotes, if I was only serving 4 people, it's nice to have options in the refrigerator and the freezer too. And so I'm just cutting up my grapes there with scissors. I do have times where I go through and like pick each little individual grape off. So I figured this time I would just cut my grapes up in little bunches. Of course, if other humans want to pick their grapes from the vine, they can, but otherwise they can just grab a cluster or 2 to go along with our meal. Or I've also seen it where someone has an entire paper plate filled with grapes, and grapes are popular at that time.
Okay, so I'll let these grapes soak while we hop around and do some other things.
And here we go, a hopping now. So I was able to let that ground beef cook on the stove there while I worked on getting those grapes set up. And now we are just taking a spin, flipping the ground beef. I will switch to using my meat masher, but it is just still too frozen. So I'm using my spatula here, like the old-fashioned way, to flip it. And then there we go. Now we are starting to hammer it down with the meat masher, which is one of those tools I never thought would be so important, and I absolutely love it. You all taught me that back at the Forest House probably 8 years ago or so now. And now I'm going to set my slow cookers out, and I'm going to get my butternut squash going in one, and we are going to get our 2 Mega Mama size sweet potatoes going in the other. I'm just putting some olive oil at the bottom of both of those pans, a little bit on the butternut squash and the potatoes too, and we'll let those do their thing.
Okay, so we've got our 2 giant sweet potatoes in the 10-quart Hamilton Beach slow cooker, and then we have that butternut squash that still looked good when I cut that bad end off of it. It's got a few spots, but I think it's going to be fantastic. I just poured some olive oil over both of them. I got the slow cookers on, and these will be ready in a few hours and meal prep for the week. We're continuing to work through the ground beef, and these black seedless grapes are continuing to hang out and like it. And then we have 16 pounds of strawberries. I got 2 cases. They were 2 flats for $19.99 at the John Henry General Store. So I want to go ahead and prep at least 8 pounds of the strawberries for the week too. But first, let's get back over here to our ground beef that we're babysitting. This stuffed pepper soup is amazing. I feel like it's been 2 years since I've had it. I know I've made up a big batch of it several times, and it's delicious. We're meal prepping it, so it's an option to eat for this week right now. And then I'm also, fingers crossed, hoping to get a few gallon bags of it in the freezer, and even those individual soup containers that I have. I just love having stuff prepped and ready, even in a large household, even in the single servings, or even if 1 soup container would really be 2, like I might set a few out one evening and then have those for my lunches for a few days with a salad. Fantastic. Or if anyone else in my house wanted it, they could set out. They are experts at setting things out from the freezer to defrost and having them ready to go as well. So, life skills. And we'll do the same with the ham bone soup too. We're gonna cook that with some potatoes and such as well. I did have my 14-year-old bring me up a dozen jars of our home canned beef broth that we canned here. Maybe, when did we do beef broth? 8 weeks ago or so. And then about 4 weeks ago we did chicken broth. And not in this massive meal prep and freezer meals, but coming up, I want to start working through the chicken feet I have and the beef bones to continue the broth machine. Because boy, when we use it, we use it. We're gonna be using a lot of home canned broth in these freezer meals that we're doing. Now, some of the items that we're meal prepping will truly just be prepped for the week. It's a Tuesday when I'm starting to film this, and so some items will be gone within 6 to 7 days. Other items, especially what we get in the freezer, we'll be using those over 4 to 8 weeks, maybe even 12 weeks for some things. I can switch to a meat masher with most of this now. So just looking at my watch, it's been about 30 minutes or so. I know it's quicker in video time, but about 30 minutes to cook up. It's almost cooked through. This 14 pounds of farm-raised, I always want to say grass beef, right? It's a farm-raised grass-fed beef. Almost done. It's got a few minutes left. And we're gonna drain those grapes. I'm gonna get those in my big Rubbermaid container to be prepped in the fridge for the week. We have other fruits and veggies we're eating down as well. These were just such a phenomenal deal. Hey everybody, have some grapes. And you can see in my Sharp Shopper grocery haul, I bought 2 boxes of brownies, some Kit Kats, and some Twizzlers too. So don't think we don't get goodies like that around here too from time to time. But that's for a bunch of kids over a whole month. And we'll be making some homemade muffins too. And hey, look, we meal prepped. One of my little fellas came in and was asking about the ground beef that I'm cooking on the stove. And I'm like, hey, we have some meatloaf minis, which guess what they're made out of? Ground beef. We have a bag left of these in the refrigerator that I prepped probably 4 or 5 days ago that we're working through finishing up. We just got done washing those black grapes. So there we go, some meatloaf minis and some black grapes going out this afternoon.
And now I'm just working on draining all of the grapes that we soaked. I soaked them in some water and some baking soda. I Googled my way through it on the best way to rinse our vegetables, and I figure, you know, I've always washed things with water. I haven't got into soaking. I'm behind. So maybe I should soak some things now. So Google just told me that soaking our fruit and vegetables in baking soda is one way to do it. So we gave that a shot. And now I'm adding clean water and clean baking soda to our bowl here, and we are going to start dumping our strawberries in. Now we don't process both flats of strawberries. Of course, strawberries go quickly, but they go quickly in both sense of the words. They go quickly in that my household will eat them quickly, but they also can go bad quickly. So I picked a few that had a little fuzz on there, and now I'm giving them some good spins, kind of like a washing machine there, and we're going to let them soak for a bit while we do some other things. And we will also go through and prep and process those.
Okay, I'm gonna take my Aldi bags downstairs and we gotta go grocery shopping in the basement for a few more items. Okay, we need a couple cans of diced tomatoes. Then I have these big cans of organic tomato sauce that we got from Sharp Shopper. They were $1.99 a can. We are going to get multitasking a couple different things. Let's see here. First off, washcloth, washcloth. Where did my washcloth go? No. Gonna need to just do a quick tidy. What I want to do is get the ham bone cooking in a stock pot in some water, and we can make a ham stock with that. And then I want to get all the ingredients for the stuffed peppered soup, probably just going in our big red pot here. Now towards the end of that soup, the way I have it written out on the blog is it's for the slow cooker. Of course you can cook it any way that you like, but it has directions for adding rice towards the end. I'm changing up a bit, and at this point, I think I'll just be adding cauli rice to it. We'll see. I could get inspired, and if I did put rice in it, I would do half brown rice, half cauli rice. Because all these things here need wiped down. Okay, so our big pans of meat. Those over. Well, I just need to do a quick wipe down on everything. So we will get the stuffed peppered soup going. This end of the stove. And then hand-on soup going. Ooh, just want to get my red pot down here. And again, these are great soups to also do in the slow cooker. Well, let me go ahead and I'm calling this 8 pounds of ground beef here. Out of the way for a moment. All right, so we have that setting there. We have this ground beef that we will deal with in a minute that we're calling, what was that? I think that was 6 pounds, roughly 6 pounds of ground beef. I'm not going to do the 30-quart stock pot. I will probably do the ham bone in this stock pot, and of course it's plural. We've got 2 from the freezer that we are going to use up. Off the rails a bit here because I am eyeballing a lot, and my cute little recipe on the blog talks about 3 or 4 peppers and all of that, but we are even biggering that. I've doubled it, which, you know, can go sideways sometimes. I can triple things and still end up using double butter. Stick with me. I doubled the slow cooker recipe I have on the blog, and I'm just also using up things that I have, and so I want to use these peppers up. We're gonna also add in tomato sauce and beef broth that we canned in September. Okay, we're gonna come in, visit our whiteboard for a minute for a few quick wins at least. We have cooked 14 pounds of ground beef. Yes, we have. We prepped 12 pounds of grapes, and I'm halfway through the strawberries, but sweet potatoes, already done in the slow cooker. 2 giant sweet potatoes, 1 butternut squash in the slow cooker. Little things crossed off. Now, my slow cooker recipe also talks about a diced onion. I'm just gonna throw onion powder in here now at this point. I did just get some minced garlic at Costco yesterday, so could have done the meat with garlic. That would have been good, but oh well. I am doing a tablespoon of onion powder, a tablespoon of garlic powder. We're gonna also add in some diced tomatoes and tomato sauce and some salt and some pepper. Also, my slow cooker recipe calls for some packed brown sugar. We have some brown sugar substitute by Swerve, and we will add some of that in as well. Got my big boat paddle out. And now we have a mammoth can of tomato sauce. Now, the slow cooker recipe only calls for 1 15-ounce can. Oh, did this not open? That's a bummer. Let's try again. Okay. So I'm just totally eyeballing. Okay, that's about 1/3 of that can. And I'm gonna go ahead and bring up, or have brought up, a couple packs of cauliflower rice that I got at Sharp Shopper yesterday, and that will be our rice in this soup. It's looking beautiful though. I have requested 4 packs of cauliflower rice be brought up here. We might only use 3, we'll see. This is a 14-ounce bag of brown sugar substitute. There you go. And I'm going to use about half of it. Okay, and this is just some riced cauliflower. It's a Whole Foods brand. Got it at Sharp Shopper for 99 cents. Garlic, herbs, olive oil, and sea salt. It's 12 ounces. So I'm gonna eyeball putting a couple bags in. And now this ground beef that is prepped, we will use that to do those other healthy casseroles. But hey, look, we meal prepped. So today, I'm just gonna stick this ground beef in the refrigerator, and we will continue to work on getting these projects crossed off our list. But I won't be putting these casseroles together this afternoon. Okay, so we're gonna deal with those strawberries here next. We've had a nice long soak-in time, but we have that 6 pounds of ground beef. They're gonna make those low-carb casseroles out of. That's prepped here, ready to go. We've got 2 more of the gallon bags of the peppers, just putting these in the fridge for now. We're gonna get back to using those with those casseroles and other adventures. Also, these are the 12 pounds of grapes that we soaked and got in little clusters. We're gonna get those in the fridge. So now I'm just taking a few minutes to organize my refrigerator a little bit. I had done a big project the weekend before, and so things got a little bit scrambled. I had a big business project, yes, still things that I am doing on the back end of getting my YouTuber Extraordinaire course up and launched again, where I show moms how to create their dream YouTube channels from scratch based on my experience generating over 100 million views and all of my long-time successful business mama experience. So I had a few days there where I was not paying much attention to this refrigerator, and it needed a mom. Our refrigerator needed a mom to organize it, and I am the mom to that refrigerator. So we got that all ready to go. Now I'm organizing some fruit. We have some mandarin oranges. We have 2 bags of apples. And so whenever I put our fruit out in easily accessible containers in the refrigerator, especially down on the lower shelf, it makes it easy for my younger crew to just grab an apple or grab an orange. And so also, once we're done prepping all of these sandwiches, I will just keep a bowl of sandwiches down there too. So now I'm giving my soup a stir, and let me just tell you, this soup is absolutely delicious. I have frozen it in gallon freezer bags, and I've also frozen it in the individual soup containers. Now my soup containers are really probably 2 servings of soup. So if I set 1 or 2 out for myself to defrost, those will just be my mama lunch for probably 2 days or so. And I might have one of those extra servings like to go along with my dinner, or any way I like to swing it. I like food flexibility, and I like having a lot of food prepped so that it makes the days and weeks and months easier. So this is quite a job here, going through and cutting all the little tops off the strawberries. I'm just cutting the green tops off, and then I'm slicing the strawberries in half, and we are going to fill that bowl up, and it'll be ready for a couple days, a whirlwind experience at our house. Also, part of the fun of prepping 60 pounds of strawberries is I get to sample strawberries the whole time. If I see one that looks particularly good, no problem. I probably ate 2 cups of sliced strawberries during this 8 pounds of strawberry prep, but that's just what I like to call my mom tax. Just checking in on our ham stock going. And so with the strawberries, I'm gonna put the lid on this batch. I'm gonna keep on going. It's a commitment. I'm gonna get those done and just put them in a smaller bowl. This bowl, I think, has seen better days, but we got it. We're still using it. Okay, I switched out my bowl, and this will just be what we dip from for, I don't know, the next 16 hours or so. Could be gone tonight.
And yes, those strawberries were definitely gone within 24 hours, and then we moved on to the bigger container with my broken blue lid. But I did recently get a few new containers from Amazon that are glass and that have nice fresh lids to put some of my other meal prep items in. Now, the container with my broken blue lid, if you haven't been introduced yet, that's a coming. I've had those, I mean, probably since the farmhouse. The container itself is glass, but the lids are plastic, and so it just makes sense that after at least a decade, those lids are cracking.
Alrighty, here's our cute little, hey look, we meal prepped bowl. These will be gone this evening. It's just how things work around here. There we go. Okay, we earned crossing off those 8 pounds of strawberries. And then also we are done with the stuffed peppered soup. Now something else that we need to prep is we need to slice, I believe it's 18 pounds of cheese. I got a 12-pound roll and a 6-pound roll at Sharp Shopper yesterday, and so we'll use those for our grilled cheese prep as well. I am going to get hot off the stove here, if you like saying hot off the press, a nice big bowl of this stuffed peppered soup for my dinner. I have the ham bones, that's just now starting to bubble some more, and I'm gonna let that go for a bit. We got a lot of fruit prepped, we got more meat prepped that we're doing more things, but I am going to take a break, and then I've got something this evening, and then tomorrow we'll be right back at it. Got this delicious stuffed peppered soup, and that's what my bowl looks like. That's going to be for my dinner. I also have some of my salad left from earlier that I didn't finish. So this is a hey look, I meal prep. Okay, so I'm gonna finish my salad from earlier and have this for my dinner. Okay friends, it is later evening now, and our ham broth now has simmered for several hours, so we will get back to working with that. We have this soup that has cooled, our stuffed peppered soup. I had this for dinner, and actually my kids had some really good leftovers. The Sharp Shopper pizza I brought home last night. So of course they worked on eating that tonight. But I am meal prepping for the future, and that is super. So I will get that in the refrigerator. We are gonna bag things and also put things in soup containers. And of course we've gotta continue making that. And I just wanted to show you, these are the sweet potatoes. I'm trying to not fog up my camera here, but they are nice and done and soft and prepped too. And then over here we have the butternut squash. So I had to wipe my countertop for a minute. Woo! And anyway, let me turn that off. But this is nice and soft, and I'll need to work on, I'll get the seeds out and all of those good things, but no more at the moment. Okay friends, happy new day. So we are continuing on filling my freezer and with this massive meal prep. We got a lot prepped the other day to continue on with filling my freezer today. The first thing I'm doing is I'm getting my ham broth that we got going. We're gonna get that heated through and work on finishing out our ham bone soup. We also have our peppers from my friend's 2022 garden that have totally defrosted now in the refrigerator. And we have this, what was it, 6 pounds or so of ground beef. I do need to run to the downstairs freezer and get some cauli rice, and I need to finish pulling these dinner freezer meals together. And then we have a lot of muffins to make and sandwiches to make and French toast to make, so let's get going. And we are gonna go down to go grocery shopping in the grocery store in my basement here in one moment. Get some more ingredients down there. Okay, I think my cauliflower rice is over here for right now. Thought I had more than this. All right, should be good on the cauliflower rice now. Okay, so we fill the freezer and do all this massive make a mama recipe cooking one recipe at a time. So I'm focusing on the ham bone soup. If you can hear me over my opener here, I grabbed some kidney beans I needed to use for my pantry. Just another thing of carrots. I did throw the bowl of uneaten baby carrots in here the other day when I worked on the broth. And I grabbed some home canned items also. And I'm getting very excited. I'm hungry. I'm getting very excited about the steak and peppers. I'm gonna go about that a different way. I was gonna take the ingredients like the raw meat and then the other items and assemble them in slow cooker freezer meal bags so that we could dump and go them for other meals. I'm gonna change that and prep, I believe we've got about 6 pounds of beef here. I'm gonna change it to doing a big skillet meal, which will be delicious. And we do have some afternoon popcorn going down here in the microwave with our Sharp Shopper popcorn. The kids are enjoying that. Okay, so this is just fly by the seat of my pants ham bun soup. We got some sliced carrots, some kidney beans, and some butter beans. I'm also going to put some home canned potatoes and corn in it. So here's some home canned potatoes and home canned corn that we had down on the cannon shelves. We're going to use too. Need these out here shortly. We're also going to get the stuffed pepper soup that I prepped in freezer containers too. Just thinking about the best way to pick my ham apart. I've got just a 9 by 13 dish here, and I'm just going to pull the meat off of these ham bones. The broth looks nice. That's just a big chunk of meat. Hello there, fire. Okay. I'm also going to add in our salt. Still did not grab more pepper, so that needs to be done. And we will throw our onion powder and garlic powder in as well. And so, if I remember right, I think this is a 20-quart stock pot, and it looks to be a little more than half full. We'll call it 15 quarts. And it is so convenient to have soup ready to go in the freezer too. I'll stir it with this one right now. I got my timer set to help me because I've got some cooking time this afternoon, and then I want to get this done today because tomorrow I'm going to start a new project where I'm going through, you're going to help me, and I'm going to totally clean, deep dive, reorganize the grocery store in my basement. I'm going to take inventory, see what I have, see what I need. So many things are going to happen. So I really want to get this today. And as I shared, many of these meals will be gone in a couple weeks, and also some of them will be over several months. Alrighty, so now I'm just gonna dump these baby carrots and ham pieces back into our ham broth. And I've got a colander of great value canned and home canned vegetables. Whee! That we're gonna dump into. And I'm feeling like I would love to have some sauteed onions and celery in here. And we're gonna saute up onions and peppers and probably some broccoli too for this massive steak and peppers. So if I have some celery, we will do that and do some onions for this soup in particular, because it seems like a nice country soup that could use that. Yes, that's looking delicious. And we almost have a full stock pot now. So you see how delicious everything is looking. But again, I really think some sauteed onions and celery are gonna make this. Here's some of our home rendered tallow. We're gonna saute our veggies in. So I'm going to town. I'm going to onion chopping town. Haha. We are chopping all those onions up because we need to saute them for the steak and peppers, and also to saute some onions. And I did find some celery in my refrigerator. It's my celery that I like to eat my sugar-free almond butter on. I gave it up for the homemade ham bone soup. That's okay. I will get some more. I'm whittling down the last little bit that is left in my March 2025 grocery budget. I gave myself a grocery budget of $1,500 for my household of 10, including toiletries and other household items we might need. So far, I had spent just under $1,000. It was $900 and some change. You can see my recent Sharp Shopper video that I believe published before this one. I gave the math breakdown, but I know it was $900 and then fill in the blank on food items for the month. But again, many of those food items we don't just eat in March. I creatively use them for meals once I get this pump primed that we will see over the coming months. This was the additional 2 1/4 pound sirloin roast that I had along with the stew meat that's of course already chopped up. The 2 packs of stew meat are each a little over 2 pounds each. So we will add this sirloin roast to it and cook these up here shortly. And then also I've got 2 onions prepped for that adventure. Okay, so I'm going to move some pots and pans around here. A little mix out. Just because it doesn't matter what size stove, you always end up with your favorite burner you like to work with. So I'm going to add the onions and the peppers that we sauteed in tallow to this ham bone soup and just move this to the back burner. And then we will start prepping the steak and peppers, and so many different ways with the steak and peppers. I could do some brown rice in the Instant Pot, and my family folks can have steak and peppers over that. I might add cauli rice to it at the end. I don't know, but let's get that one going and find out. I always like to get a big batch recipe going and then find out how it's going to all end once we pull it together. Where will inspiration strike? You know, I'm so used to using what I have on hand and making the best of it that I can stretch and pinch and accommodate and make changes and work it out as I go. And this ham bone soup is looking very delicious. I'm so glad I took the time beforehand to prep that broth. Of course, this could have been something that I also started on the stove top with this big cooking time, but it was just one less thing I had to do. And now I'm just moving my pot over, and now we're going to start our next big project. All right, so I'm going to drop some more tallow in here. We're going to start on our onions and peppers. I'm just, you know, measure the tallow with your heart, right? you go. It's a big full pan of it all. There is quite a bit of liquid in here also from the peppers, but we will cook that off. I'm gonna continue to do and prep while I can, while that is cooking. I have our stew meat here. I can get this out in a bowl, and then I'm gonna work on assembling our unstuffed pepper casserole, or whatever it is I call it. It's peppers, it's ground beef, it's cauli rice, some other ingredients. As I was going through some of the items I have in the refrigerator that we're going to do a marinade with for these pepper steak, I have garlic, so I'm eyeballing. I'm going to call that 1/4 cup of garlic in our massive pan of onions and peppers. It's going to be cooking for probably 10 more minutes or so, but that gives me time to go into marinade thoughts. And we still have the sweet potato and the butternut squash that we prepped that I'm gonna get into containers, and I'm gonna prep a bag of this. Okay, it's 2 pounds of fresh broccoli. We're gonna do some sheet pan broccoli. I was thinking about mixing it in with the peppers and the steak, but I'm just gonna let it be a separate ingredient for another side item as needed. Then this broccoli will not go in the freezer. This is meal prep for the coming days. And with large Philly mom meal prep flying by the seat of my pants as we do, I just sent a teenager downstairs, the microwave's still singing to me, we'll get it here in a minute, to get me the other bag, because if I'm doing 2 pounds of broccoli, I really should do 4 pounds of broccoli. Okay, so I have the slow cooker variation of this recipe that I am adapting on the go here, linked in the description. I'm just eyeballing the brown sugar substitute. I'm gonna do 1/4 cup of red wine vinegar. And I'm gonna do a whole cup of liquid aminos. Now at the end, when I need a thickener, I'll use something like xanthan gum. You can use cornstarch or whatever you would like for a thickener. And perfect world, it would be fantastic to marinate my meat in this for several hours or overnight, but we don't live in that perfect world, but we are getting it done. And hey, there's something. Delicious. I'm going to sample all the food today, but here is, I won't be able to yet because it's so hot. Here is the ham bone soup. Hopefully you can see that. It looks beautiful. I'm going to have this in my taste testing line over here cooling. Okay, and I'm just going to move this pan over here for now. We will use our other pan here. We just ring the gong for everything. Okay, now we're going to cook through our 6 pounds of beef. And I would like to get this sheet pan broccoli going and prepping, but there's no parchment paper in my kitchen. I don't think creative kids have used Mama's parchment paper in projects. I'm not sure, but let's go see if I have any more downstairs.
Again, this is gonna be the container, yeah. The room, oh, and we're saved. The room that we work on tomorrow reorganizing. Like napkins should not be over here with the parchment paper and the jumbled sandwich box messes, but that's okay, we're gonna get to it. At least I'm saved with parchment paper for today. Because it would have just been sad to have been out of parchment paper, but I know a few months ago I did stock up, and in one of my Walmart grocery delivery orders I had several rolls of parchment paper delivered, and so I'm just going to spread some out there on my full-size baking sheet, and we are going to dump the broccoli on it. I will also put some olive oil down and cover my broccoli in that, and I will add some Redmond salt, and we're going to use up some lemons I had in the refrigerator. We're going to chop up several lemons and squeeze them down over the broccoli. Just a nice little refreshing addition to the broccoli that you can give a try if you're interested. I love doing sheet pan broccoli and sheet pan vegetables in general. You could also use half as much broccoli here and add some chicken breast or chicken tenderloins within this. Of course, you would need to cook it for longer and check the internal temperature of your chicken. But it would be the same ingredients there. Sprinkle, it's actually avocado oil that I used instead of olive oil, but I use them interchangeably. 6 one way, half dozen another. Of course, the olive oil can have different flavors, and avocado oil is tasteless. I consider both good, healthy fats. But if you were going to do sheet pan, lemon, chicken, and broccoli, I would sprinkle the avocado oil or olive oil over the chicken as well. Same with the Redmond salt, same with the lemons, and that's a delicious sheet pan meal for your family. And now we're back to cooking up our delicious steak bites. I've had those going on the stove top while we prep the broccoli. Got the broccoli in the oven, and now I'm giving our steak bites a stir. Of course, I'm calling it steak bites. It was stew meat pieces and then that little over 2 pound sirloin that we added to it. Total, little over 6 pounds of grass-fed beef.
We also have our afternoon peanut butter and jelly factory about to commence. I got one teenager that's going to do 6 loaves of peanut butter and jelly. So we have our great value creamy peanut butter, and then we have some home canned strawberry jam. So a little bit, got our great value represented, got our home canning represented. And then we are going to slice down a whole lot of bulk cheese that I bought, and I will have someone else take a turn assembling the future grilled cheese for the freezer. And then you and me are gonna do a bunch of big batch French toast. And back to this steak for the pepper steak. It's absolutely delicious. I have also been taste testing this. Very, very good. And since I like cauliflower rice to be represented in all the things, this is a Whole Foods Market brand, and it was $1.49 for a 24-ounce bag at Sharp Shopper. So just helping answer the question, does Sharp Shopper only have tons of processed food? No, there's all kinds of things there. So I stock up on the Whole Foods flavor of cauliflower rice when they have it. Of course, they had that delicious Mediterranean rice that we really should make in bulk that I stocked up on for months and months and months. So anyway, I'm just gonna, that'll break up. It looks like a problem, but it won't end up being a problem. Like a lot of life, okay? It's gonna work out. And if I was doing this in the slow cooker, I would dump these in. Just some diced tomatoes. Okay, so we got a nice PB&J assembly line going on over here.
And you gotta love a good teenager-driven PB&J assembly line. Future Jamerrill reporting on this video, I did put a dozen of those sandwiches at the bottom of my refrigerator, and those were also gone within another 24 hours. So people just grab a sandwich, grab two, grab some fruit, run outside. And right now I'm working on adding the sauteed onions and peppers back into my steak. And we have that little bit of marinade that I added in there too. And let me just tell you, that was absolutely delicious. Absolutely delicious. You can make this recipe on a smaller scale in your slow cooker. I will link my from scratch slow cooker pepper steak recipe for you in the description below. I took that recipe and modified it, obviously expanding it even further, and also modified it in that I was using the different ingredients I had on hand. You can follow the recipe exactly and do it in your slow cooker or modify it as you need to. So I already have family members asking for pepper steak, which is fantastic. I'm going to eat mine on top of half of one of those sweet potatoes that we prepped. It's also delicious over brown rice, over more cauli rice, but at least we got some cauli rice in there. I'm being particular with where my cauli rice goes because I got a whole other recipe I need to do with it, but there you go. This will be my official mama lunch. And we have very beautiful sheet pan broccoli. And I will help myself to add some of that to the side of my bowl as well. I obviously did not eat that whole bowl of soup because I knew all of these good things were coming. But I did cool it off and taste test it some. Okay, so here's the official Mama Lunch Bowl look. I worked on eating my Mama Lunch Bowl while I worked on my stuffed peppered casserole. You know, whether you want to call it unstuffed pepper or stuffed peppers, it has similar ingredients to stuffed peppers. Of course, I'm not using white rice or brown rice with this recipe here, doing the stuffed pepper casserole or the unstuffed pepper soup. You know, you just try to get a little different creative with names there. But the same ingredients such as tomato products of some capacity, a rice situation where we are using cauli rice, and that cauli rice, the Whole Foods Market brand that I got at Sharp Shopper, I believe already had some herbs, just some parsley I believe, and some olive oil on there. And so we are mixing all of this up with our peppers from my friend's garden, and then also that ground beef that we pre-cooked the day before. So I'm giving everything a big stir. Now, on this recipe over on largefamilytable.com, which I will link for you down in the description below, I'm pretty sure I also topped it with cheese originally. And so I have many different dietary needs that I serve. I'm the only family member in my house that's officially dairy-free, but I do have some others that could benefit from at least testing being dairy-free. So we have recipes with dairy and we have recipes without. I figure with this, I'm not going to top it with cheese, and then those who want to top their portion with cheese can certainly do so. In fact, I'm sure I will have household members who choose to do that, put some provolone on it or something, but it is delicious any way it goes. And I will heat up a 9x13 pan along with some other side items, and everyone can make their choices. Okay, so things are happening. I'm going to cross the unstuffed pepper casseroles off the list. We're going to officially cross off the ham bone soup. We're going to officially cross off the steak and pepper. Okay, just doing SP. Hey, look, we meal prepped 4 pounds of sheet pan broccoli. Still got to chop up the cucumbers. And the PB&Js are underway, so I'm going to go ahead and cross those off too. And I have some more of my soup containers that I'm just going to do a quick wash on here in one of the Mega Mama bowls. And I have some more that are washed up ready to go for us to do our freezer soups. And these containers are super convenient to freeze soups in. I just like the way I handle all of my freezer meals. I set 1 or 2 out whenever I need it if I'm setting out individual servings. Of course, times where I figure these will be big batch meals for the entire household, like if I was gonna have a gallon or 2 bag of the soup, that's the other way that I freeze this particular recipe, and then I set that whole gallon bag out, and that will be for an upcoming meal. And I like variety. So with these soups that I made on this particular day, I chose to freeze in the individual soup portion containers. Again, I figure one of those containers is about 2 bowls of soup. And so your mileage may vary, but if I'm having it with salad or a sweet potato or some other side item, I might eat half of one of those containers. I also have other family members who love the soup option, and when it's needed, I'll just set a couple out to defrost. Again, options, people, preferences, things. And then I don't reheat in those containers. I take those containers then and just dump it into a bowl, and then we microwave from there.
So it's big cheese log slicing time. So we have a 12-pound log of provolone cheese from Sharp Shopper for $2.09 a pound, $37.48, 12.13 pounds. And then we have a 6.15 pound log of marble Colby Jack. It says Longhorn log, $3.49 a pound, $21.46. So we have 6 loaves of peanut butter and jelly done. Check. We already scratched that off the whiteboard. I sat over in my mama chair with my feet up on a stool for about 30 minutes and just thought through the projects that were left, gave some direction around the house, also served out, well, I didn't serve out, I sat and said, hey, steak and peppers on the stove, have it as you will. And that has been going out already. So I have more soup containers washed. I have other soup containers ready to go. So I'm gonna slice this. Now the nice thing is, of course, I've never worked in a deli. I've just worked in my own Mega Mama kitchen for going on 3 decades. And I have viewers though who have worked in delis. So I've been getting some tips. Let's see, I'm gonna have to cut my cheese a little shorter here. Okay. And one of the big tips I received recently is, as I've been doing the cheese slicer, I've been going this way in front of me, and I've been told I should be going this way towards my microwave. So I also got on YouTube and I watched a couple different videos on how to use a commercial cheese slicer like this. So I think we're in action now. It's pretty good, huh? So this is not a tutorial video. Please watch your own YouTube videos, haha. But I am doing it. I am a mama who's gonna make it happen, that's for sure. And even though I was using my cheese slicer going in the wrong direction, well, not in the wrong direction, just turn this way instead of that way. We're still successfully able to cut cheese that has already been used in sandwiches. I say that, I think I might have 1 bag left, but we in particular are going for grilled cheese and prepping other cheese for sandwiches for this month. Okay. Nice. So I had not had any trouble getting the slices. I just think this is the way I'm supposed to properly hold things. You'll let me know. When it starts throwing cheese around, I know it's time to move the cheese. These little chunks that I'm left with at the end, I just cut into little cubes or little cheese sticks and put those in a separate bag for my cheese-eating folks.
And so I'm continuing to go to town with this meat slicer, cheese slicer. Now I haven't actually sliced meat with it, but I have seen large meat rolls, I don't know what else to call them, large hunks of meat at Sharp Shopper, maybe turkey breast, other items, or ham, and maybe we will do that in the future. Right now, it's super convenient to slice down 12 pounds of cheese or 18 pounds of cheese. I think the week before this, I sliced down 12 pounds of provolone, and that's already been used up in several different things. So I needed to do more cheese on this day for the grilled cheese, and then also just to have some more general household cheese prep. And then at some point, my cheese slicer will fling cheese. I think it might get like a little piece stuck in the back. There you go. You see like a nice little cheese explosion. And I'm also given some household direction and answering some microwave questions. We are definitely not a microwave-free household. I'm thankful for my microwave.
So that Colby blend was definitely a blend, and it seemed to be more crumbly than the provolone. I don't know my cheeses other than I know what we like to eat, which I don't think there's any cheese we don't care for around here. Also got some afternoon popcorn going. But there we go. So we got 18 pounds of cheese here. What doesn't go on prepped grilled cheeses for sheet pan grilled cheese for the month will just be put in a bag for other sandwiches.
And now there's one of my new meal prep containers that I got on Amazon. I will link those for you below, or I'll try to have them pop up here in this video, but I am putting all of that broccoli into that container. We're going to snap the snazzy lid on it, and there you go. We got 4 pounds of broccoli minus what I ate for lunch, along with my lunch there. We're going to have that in the refrigerator prepped and ready to go. And with this delicious pepper steak, I am putting it also in what I consider individual containers, although one of my teens got one of the containers and ate that for their one meal. Totally fine. That's what it's there for. Other folks might divide that into 2. I have in the past frozen everything truly big batch style, like gallon bags, 10 by 15 pans, 9 by 13 pans, and I still do that. But I like different size options as well.
So we have the 18 pounds of cheese sliced. We have future sheet pan grilled cheese being prepped, and people ask if we grill them before we freeze them. We don't. It's just the cheese on the bread. And what that will look like, you'll see me in my large family meals of the week videos. Whenever we're doing some meal prepping and pulling things I've already prepped for meals for the coming days, I might grab a dozen or 2 dozen, set it from the freezer into the refrigerator. And one of the following days, we will fill 2 sheet pans and we will do our sheet pan grilled cheese. I've also done them from frozen. I have other videos, early on videos over here on this channel where we're prepping them and doing them for lunches. They can also be defrosted and then just have some deli meat added to them and be regular meat and cheese and mayonnaise and mustard and whatever other toppings folks might want sandwiches. So now we're moving into mega muffins this afternoon. And of course I have this big Hobart mixer. Now I have all kinds of hopes and dreams for this Hobart mixer. I do have one issue, and this is where like it's a lot to figure out on my own, but anyway, I can't get the dough hook off. My friend told me it needs to be greased, so don't worry, that is on the to-do list. We will figure it out. Another thing is, when I have done my mega muffins, like when I take one of my recipes, I've got a mega muffins guide 1 and a mega muffins guide 2, and a lot of muffin recipes that'll make 4 dozen or so at a time. I used to, because there's no way I could do those in my KitchenAid mixers. I'm just used to using my 30-quart mixing bowl and using a hand mixer. It all works. It's the whole point of just mixing it all together. So I don't know how this will go. I used the Hobart in January whenever we made a ton of sourdough bagels and English muffins for the freezer, and then later turned those into breakfast sandwiches. But I've not taken one of my mega muffin recipes that makes 4 dozen per recipe at a time that I usually do in this bowl and do in my Hobart. It's the first one I'm looking at. It is 10 cups of flour, 12 bananas. It's pumpkin banana muffins, and I have bananas. These are a real winner because they also have chocolate chips in them. Anyway, anyway, if I could get my dough handle off, I would mix this using the paddle. But again, I am proficient at making things work and still getting the thing done. Okay, so we're gonna combine the dry ingredients in a bowl. We're gonna combine the wet. We're gonna put it all in here. We're gonna give it a go, mixing it in here. I'm just letting you know, it feels a little test kitchen lumpy and bumpy, and we'll see how it goes. I might end up doing all my muffins in my big 30-quart mixing bowls how I usually do them.
So we'll see how it all works out. Now, the bowl there of the Hobart mixer did get used to hold a few kitchen items when folks were putting dishes away from the dishwasher, so I cleaned that out real quick there. And then I'm just gonna spoon my flour into my measuring cup and get it into my Hobart. I am so excited to have another opportunity to use this again. And I want to get to the point where I'm just continuing to use my Hobart mixer weekly to do big batch baking for all of my humans at one time. I want to be able to do loaves of bread ahead, even if we're freezing it. I want to be able to do loaves of bread ahead and bagels and English muffins, many things that we've done, but I just want to continue the journey and learn how to work with this much bigger 12-quart mixer. This is twice the size of my KitchenAid, and it has much bigger attachments, so there is a learning curve. So I had an idea that my little baby KitchenAid here, cute little KitchenAid, could work on mashing up the bananas while we get the other ingredients in. Might be genius, might not be. We will find out. I'm going to do 12 bananas. Of course, I have bananas in my freezer, but also bananas with all the other fruit at the house have fallen out of favor with the banana fans. Currently, we are on a banana downturn, which is how I'll get some more in the freezer. And I'll also work on using these up for these muffins. So yes, banana favor comes and goes. I have been having bananas delivered via my many Walmart grocery delivery orders that have helped me so much during my country song life over the last 19 months. But I may go back to buying a case of 40 pounds of bananas at a time. Now, as the John Henry General Store they get organic banana cases, and they'll have them. I mean, sometimes it's $20 for 40, but I've gotten them for $9 for 40 pounds before. And so I know in the past I've gotten 80 pounds and I froze 40, and then we used the other 40 fresh and then froze any that we didn't get to. I'm watching for that deal. When it happens again, we will definitely stock up. Even yesterday, I had my 10-year-old was making smoothies and went down and got a gallon bag of frozen bananas, and they had a nice smoothie making time. So even when they fall out of fresh favor with the household, they definitely still go for the frozen ones, and then it'll be like everybody has forgotten about fresh bananas, and next time I get them, oh wow, bananas are amazing. And sometimes I'll have one person eat 4 in one day. So that's my honey from Azure that I got. I feel like, okay, I think I got that big thing of honey maybe May 2023. And so we are getting to the end of it. A lot of it's crystallized, but it's fine. I think it'll be just fine as I mix it up with the other wet ingredients in the KitchenAid mixer. I'm not worried about it. I did have someone the other day ask me why one little bottle of honey, because my family still sets the littler bottles out like around the teapot, why the crystallized one tastes sweeter than the fluid one. And I said, well, you got a whole lot of sweetness there, condensed, sweetie. So anyway, honey is honey, and it is delicious. So I'm adding the canned pumpkin now. Okay, so mixing up our wet ingredients in the KitchenAid, and then giving the dry ingredients a whirl in the Hobart. Did we just develop a system? I don't know. I do know this spaghetti squash is asking questions about life. So I'm just gonna put that over here for now and not think any guilt-ridden thoughts. But anyway, I think I just developed my own little workflow here. How fun is this? Don't accidentally turn it up high when you're trying to turn it off.
Representation of my whole entire life at any given moment. Blurry camera and all. Alrighty, here we go, Hobart. Let's see, I don't know if I can hold my camera and get this up. Can I do it? Arm muscles, yay. Okay, here. And I just have it on the #1 speed. And I'm continuing to work on covering a multitude of sins. But besides the excitement at the end there, everything went pretty well. Progress. Okay, and I just, for the first time, it's like driving a car, I'm in second gear. So I had to turn it off, put it in second, and then I turned, this one has a timer, so I put it on for 3 minutes. And also I have my little area cleaned back up. It has been christened. Okay, so doing a quick mama stir on this. It mixed it together very well. I just thought I should do one more stir. A little bit of flour around the edges. So I'm just mixing that in. We got those chocolate chips folded in. Alrighty, I think we're ready, set now. Yes, juggling this on the side of the stove. You know we like to have a good time.
We always like a little adventure, so juggling that 12-quart Hobart mixing bowl on the side of the stove there, but there is a little ledge on my stove, and it's just where everything worked out. I could have moved everything to the island or handled everything in some other way, but this is where I was working and this is where it worked out. So I did order another muffin dispenser. I can't think of what it's called now. It's like a little muffin scoop. I've had them at different times over the years in different tablespoon sizes, but I will also find them in mysterious places like mud puddles and such. So I haven't had a muffin dispenser in a bit, but I ordered 2 more on Amazon and we'll see if I can keep possession of them. And so now I'm just putting my sheet pans of muffins in my ovens. My big oven holds 2 of those full-size sheet pans. Of course, we learned you can't do liquid eggs on them because they are just a little bit tilted with that back lip. And then my other oven, which is like a regular size oven, holds the half sheet pans.
Okay, I'm gonna set a timer for these. And I want to go ahead and get our next batch of muffins going over there. I think we're gonna do honey muffins. I have a recipe for that. I have probably another dozen or so worth of batter, maybe even 18, not 18 dozen, dozen and a half in here. But I want to wash this out and keep moving forward. So we've got 5 dozen in the oven right now. Okay, so I'll do a quick wash. While we're in here, and then of course we have super mega massive dishes lining up over there. In the meantime, my teenage helpers have gotten all the soup in the soup containers for us and also made 6 loaves of the future grilled cheese or meat and cheese sandwiches prepped, and also 6 loaves of the PB and jelly. Also took the trash out for me. So we will get to the dishes, but hey, that's why I wanted 2 sinks in this dream kitchen, because I know there's a lot of life and overflow, and we started with an empty sink over there, and sometimes I'm able to have folks come and unload and load the dishwashers off the camera, but again, they've been helping me with other things, so that is fine. I'm going to mix up many more dozen of muffins here. Here's the 6-quart KitchenAid base and the 12-quart Hobart. Together, we can get things done. Well, I thought I was going for honey muffins next, but my bananas say I'm still doing banana variety muffins. So I also have a recipe for peanut butter banana muffins. It calls for 8 bananas, and we're gonna get these going. All right, so I'm doing 2 cups of peanut butter. Good old Great Value peanut butter, but I am switching out my vegetable oil for coconut oil. It's a 1/2 cup of oil. So I'm gonna use coconut oil. Probably pretty good there. So let's see. Peanut butter, eggs, milk. And that's our coconut oil. And I'm just refilling my 1 little egg carton since I got those boxes from Walmart. And even though at this season of life I have this really nice big kitchen space, I'm also used to working with small little squat kitchen spaces. So I have fed a large and growing family in a small little farmhouse kitchen with barely any room. And 1 little stove with the electric glass top, and I canned on that electric glass top, and I used that cast iron griddle on that electric glass top. Yes, I did. So these muffins call for 8 eggs. Very good. Let's see if we, how many we broke. A little extra fun, huh? And of course, those kind of casualties can happen. Oh well, again, lots of life analogies. We have in 2 cups of peanut butter, 8 eggs, 1/2 cup of coconut oil, 8 bananas. We need to put in 3 cups of milk, and then we'll get that going in the little baby KitchenAid prep mixer and get the dry ingredients going in the Hobart again. And again, if you don't have 2 mixers and you need to mix up 4 dozen muffins, it can be done with a hand mixer and a $27 30-quart bowl. Okay, everything's working out well. So what happened when I had my big splatter is I couldn't see the side and my hand bumped it. And I put it on too high of a speed accidentally, but there we go. We will let that do its business. Actually, I would. Let's see if we'd be a little daring. It's on 1 now. Can we handle 2? I do have the splash guard this one came with. I'd never actually used that before. Better put it back on 1 just to be safe for now. Probably what this is for. I just never had one with my other KitchenAid. This was the Costco upgrade. Let's see, can I do it? Okay. Okay, we'll let that handle its business. And I'm going to dry out my cup I was using for my flour that also got some egg. In every life, some egg must fall. I'm going to check on these muffins. They're looking nice. What I'm going to do, let's see here. Places for things. I'm going to unload some of my muffins here. So many projects. Okay, that should work. These came out first, so I'm gonna pull these. Still handling its business. And these are looking and smelling delicious. It's just a little extra crumb I didn't want to waste. So 2 more dozen going in. And we're getting a nice workflow going. I'm doing another batch now. We just finished the pumpkin banana chocolate chip muffins, and now we're gonna do peanut butter banana because I still have some bananas that need used up, and I also have all this equipment dirty, so I might as well continue on and make many more dozens of muffins. Now, out of our first batch, we got 7 dozen. Oh yes, we did. And good thing, because those are a household favorite. And here I am just stretching over and I am dumping 2 cups of sugar into this recipe. And I am also dumping in my salt. And since I didn't have any brown sugar pre-made, we will add a little molasses to this as well. I just used regular granulated sugar. I just turned everything up a gear. And now I'm taking this first batch of muffins out, and I'm just going to set the muffins on the cooling racks so I can take possession again of my silicone muffin baking pans there. I don't wash them or rinse them or do anything else because we are making muffins. Even though we're making 3 different recipes, it all works fine. And you can see my nice little dish island lining up there along the back counter. But we'll get there when we get there. But those muffins turned out delicious. We've got about 4 minutes, and then the next 2 dozen will be taken out of the oven. So all of our happy mixing, it's going pretty well. So I'm adding my wet ingredients to my dry ingredients. And even though the dough hook handle or attachment on the Hobart, I mean, it's just like a wooden kitchen spoon, right? So it's just mixing it for me. I like that the Hobart has a timer on the side, so I can just set it for the couple minutes and then I can check it and we can go from there. And it worked really well with the KitchenAid. Now I do rinse out the KitchenAid mixing bowl each time because those wet ingredients are slightly different. Little bit of variation there. And now I'm working on chopping up strawberries because I've decided instead of doing honey muffins this go round, I was like, it only makes sense to do strawberry muffins because we have so many strawberries. If there was a time to do strawberry muffins, this is my sign, right? I have 2 flats of strawberries from the John Henry General Store. So I am dicing them up a little smaller though. And then we are going to additionally dust them with flour. If I don't dust them with flour, I might end up with pink muffins.
because I am the mom who used to make blueberry muffins without dusting them with flour, and we would have purple muffins, which is also fine. But I did dust these strawberries with some flour coming up. And I'm also continuing to sample the strawberries while I have them in front of me.
Alrighty, I'm going to set out a sample plate, send it out and about in the house. Let folks have some peanut butter. Nope, these are not. These are pumpkin banana chocolate chip. Oh, I didn't take that batch out. Okay, they're fine. We're saved. I forgot the timer went off for those while I was cutting the strawberries. Think we're okay. Yeah, they're fine. Let's see. Worked out well. Okay, so we got 7 dozen pumpkin banana chocolate chip muffins, and now we are doing the peanut butter banana muffins. So I'm just gonna mix these by hand here for a second. Again, there's just a little bit of flour along the sides. And then we were just prepping those strawberries. When I was going through my muffin recipes, I was like, we have all those strawberries in this freezer meal and massive meal prep. It would make sense to also do strawberry muffins. So I've got strawberries diced up a little further from those that we prepped the other day. And we will get that big batch going once we get these peanut butter banana ones in the oven. Okay, yeah, that's mixing up real nice. I'm proud of us. Ideas and thoughts and hopes and dreams coming together. And we didn't spill our batter. So, I mean, we're winning.
And I like winning where we can. Now, using this soup spoon that I picked up at one of my local thrift stores for 50 cents, I'm just doing a soup spoon full of muffin batter. It's pretty good. It's good enough. Not 100% perfection, but this mama will never obtain that. But I will make muffins. I will make actually 17 dozen muffins, so we do get some things done just the same.
You know what? I totally forgot to add a little bit of molasses. Whoopsie.
And it's not a huge deal for forgetting to add the molasses. It will just not have the exact brown sugar flavor, which is just fine. It all will work out. It all will get eaten. That's a guarantee. And now I'm just moving all of our muffins onto a big baking sheet so I can get my cooling racks back for the next load there. And we will let all of these muffins cool now. There they are, looking lovely. Now I'm going to continue on scooping out muffin batter for my next batches.
Okay, so we're going to do a little moving around here so I can get this other pan in. So we got 5 dozen of, oh, I didn't spill that, we went pretty much winning. 5 dozen of the peanut butter banana. Now we're going to get going with our strawberry muffins.
So I am taking a minute here to rinse out these mixing bowls real quick before we get going with the strawberry muffins, since there'll be no bananas. Now I did consider I could have made banana strawberry muffins. I really could have, but that would have taken some more brain power, and you can tell by the darkness outside, it is later in the evening by this point. I would have had to have done some thinking through and some recipe math on adding bananas to the recipe, which is more wetness. I already had accounted for the strawberries, and I have a recipe for strawberry muffins. So my brain, by the end of the evening, getting towards the end of our big cooking adventure, I just can't. I can't have new characters enter my evening when I'm on my last 5 dozen of batches of 17 dozen muffins. I got to play it straight at this point of the night. I just got to dust my strawberries, eat a few as I can, wash my mixing bowls, and I got to behave. That's what it gets down to. Ain't no making new recipes up from scratch here, adding bananas. But banana strawberry muffins do make sense. And on another day, with a fresh brain, I think we should do that. I do have a lot of folks who love the strawberry banana flavor. And to put that in a from scratch homemade muffin, yeah.
Winning.
So now I'm getting my flour in there, and we are going to town getting these strawberry muffins going. So for the strawberry muffin recipe, I add in 9 cups of all-purpose flour. It ends up being 4.5 cups of sugar. You can use organic sugar, granulated sugar, whatever kind of sweetener you would like. You could also switch out honey for that if you would like. I use 3 tablespoons of baking powder, 2 tablespoons of cinnamon, a teaspoon and a half of baking soda, and a teaspoon and a half of salt, 6 eggs. I additionally use 3 1/4 cups of milk, 1 1/2 cups of unsalted butter. I do not double my butter this time. Pretty good, huh? And 6 cups of diced strawberries. So in the large Hobart mixer, I mix together the flour, the sugar, the baking powder, the cinnamon, the baking soda, and the salt. And then in our precious little mixer, I mixed the eggs, the milk, and the melted butter. Then after the wet ingredients were mixed in the KitchenAid, I added those to the Hobart. And then along with those mixing together, I also folded in the strawberries. Now, baking these strawberry muffins takes about 20 to 25 minutes at 375. And so now I am getting my next stack of muffins going through the assembly line. I am taking muffins that cooled a bit from the red silicone muffin liners, and I am getting those on the cooling racks. And then eventually we will move those over to our big processing pan where I'm stacking all the other muffins. And so here I'm pulling out several more dozen of the homemade from scratch peanut butter banana muffins, and they turned out absolutely beautiful. And so I'm just putting those taking them from the red silicone liners onto the cooling rack so that I have my 5 dozen silicone liners to do my strawberry muffins in next. And those are absolutely beautiful and delicious, and my family's really been gobbling them up too. Well, we've been doing pretty well. We got all these beautiful muffins. There's a peanut butter banana, and then here's the pumpkin banana chocolate chip, and we got one done. One little done. I don't know what I was thinking. Don't know what happened. And now we can flip on over, and I am filling the silicone liners now with our delicious from scratch strawberry muffin recipe that I shared with you. I am filling each little muffin cup there, and we are going to have some strawberry muffin goodness. I've had family members that have 2 muffins and some yogurt, 1 muffin, some grapes, and a yogurt. These can be snack ideas or breakfast ideas. These easy items make getting school laptops out and getting school going in the morning really easy as well. Super helpful. Also, no shame in the mama game of ordering already pre-done Walmart pancakes that can go in the toaster. Those are quick and easy in the morning. I do plan to switch out that mama hack with homemade French toast from the freezer, but we got to get there first. And hey, right now we're getting muffins done. And hey, look, I'm meal prepped. I just heated up some more of the pepper steak and also the sheet pan broccoli from earlier. That's gonna be my dinner while I work on cleaning up some muffin messes.
And I did not get to, I did a lot. And I did a lot yesterday. Whole lot of mega lots, right? So anyway, the only project I had on my list on my whiteboard that I didn't get to was to make big batch French toast. And yes, I'm just regular old Walmart bread. No shame in this mama game for this season. One day, hopes and dreams, I will continue to grow and doing more and more bread from scratch. But now, hey, Walmart's at least telling us no high fructose corn syrup. And these 12 loaves will be about 15 to 20 breakfast over the next 6 to 12 weeks. And getting them in the freezer now keeps me from ordering my emergency Walmart pancakes, haha. But even if I have to do Walmart pancakes, Talking Hand says it's okay. This is just a step in the direction I would like to go. All right, got my coffee going behind me. It is the next day. I'm gonna cross off fruit and veggie prep. I feel like telling you all the things we didn't get done. Well, I didn't get those cucumbers prepped, but that's okay. We did sheet pan broccoli. We did 12. We did 12 pounds of grapes, 8 pounds of strawberries, 2 giant sweet potatoes, 1 butternut squash. We ended up doing different muffins. I did not do applesauce or chocolate banana. We did 5 dozen strawberry muffins, and we did 5 dozen peanut butter banana muffins, and then we did 7 dozen pumpkin banana muffins. So we ended up with 17 dozen muffins. Yes, we did. We did the PB&Js and the grilled cheese prep. I did slice 18 pounds of cheese. The other thing is I didn't get the big batch French toast done, but I am going to do that day after tomorrow. It won't be in this video, it'll be in my Meals of the Week video, but we're gonna do those 12 loaves of French toast coming up. So this is an incredible, massive freezer meal prep whiteboard journey for us.
So to recap, filling my freezer with massive freezer meals for my large family, my household of 10, ages almost 4 through 76, with a lot of teenagers and adults, elementary school kids, different dietary needs, all the things, right? We accomplished 17 dozen muffins with 3 varieties from scratch, including peanut butter, banana, chocolate chip muffins. We got 7 dozen of those. We got 5 dozen of peanut butter banana muffins, and then we got 5 dozen of those delicious fresh strawberry muffins from scratch. We used the strawberries that I got on sale as a super deal for 2 flats for $19.99 from my local John Henry General store. We prepped 14 pounds of grass-fed ground beef. We also prepped, don't discount this is such a great thing to have done, 2 giant sweet potatoes and 1 butternut squash. If nothing else, I dip out portions of those sweet potatoes and the butternut squash for myself as a side item with many of my meals, or I use my sweet potatoes as the vehicle to eat my homemade sloppy joe mix or spaghetti sauce or that delicious pepper steak. But I do have several family members that are definitely sweet potato fans as well. I have at least 4 other family members, which makes 5 of us, so half my household loves sweet potatoes. So I'm only meal prepping sweet potatoes for 5 people. Okay. We also prepped 20 pounds of that great deal of seedless black grapes. We prepped about 8 pounds of strawberries from, again, that 2 flat deal. We made 3 9x13 low-carb, sugar-free, gluten-free, and dairy-free freezer meals using our prepped ground beef, our Whole Foods brand cauliflower rice that we got for $1.49 a bag at Sharp Shopper, some tomato sauce and spices, and organic peppers I had processed and waited in the freezer, and they're finally 2.5 years later fulfilling their destiny, and they taste delicious. They taste like bell peppers, so I'm so glad we used 2 of those gallon bags of peppers that have been prepped and waiting in my freezer. We also made 16 quarts of, again, gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free, low-carb stuffed peppered soup. We also did 20 quarts of ham bone soup from scratch. Again, all of these recipes will be linked down in the description below. We additionally meal prepped 18 pounds of cheese. We sliced up 12 pounds of provolone, and we also sliced down 6 pounds of a Colby blend. We had a helpful teen make 6 loaves of peanut butter and jelly for the freezer, and another helpful teen took their turn in Mama's kitchen and they made 6 loaves of pre-prepped grilled cheese. I will do these quickly on a sheet pan, and we will do sheet pan grilled cheeses in the coming weeks. Also, for fun, in the description, I will click some of my original sheet pan grilled cheese recipes and videos down in the description. We also cooked up 6 pounds of stew meat and sirloin roast that we chopped down in the 17-inch cast iron skillet. And that means we made over 6 pounds of gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free pepper steak from scratch. And by doing the pepper steak from scratch and also the unstuffed peppered soup, we used up 2 gallon freezer bags of those organic peppers. We also meal prepped 4 pounds of fresh broccoli, but we also squeezed some lemon on. Also could have thrown some garlic on there. It was delicious. And that was gone in my household from different folks taking servings in about 72 hours. Filling my freezer with these massive meals should serve my large household of 10 for the next 6 to 12 weeks. We don't use these freezer meals one after another. I generally mix them in as needed in life. Some meals it might be a breakfast freezer meal, then leftovers for lunch and a fresh dinner. Other days it might be a fresh breakfast, leftovers for lunch, and a freezer meal dinner. It's usually some combination of both. However, depending on the day, yeah, sure, we could have days where breakfast, lunch, and dinner are freezer meals, and for 10 people, I think that's awesome. So I know folks like to have numbers, so I'm estimating I have about 30 large family freezer meals in this big fill in my freezer cooking time with all of this massive meal prep. This is not including the 12 loaves of sandwiches that we prepped. But I know many of you like a general number, and I like a general number too. just to get an idea on how much food it takes for me to prep ahead to feed my large household. I think of things such as the soup would break down to the equivalent of 4 large family meals if I was also serving additional fruits and veggies and some homemade sourdough bread from the freezer. I took the time to freeze the soup in some smaller containers so that we would just have a variety of portion sizes and meal options for every person in my family. So again, friends, all of my big batch freezer meal recipes will be linked down in the description below. They are all located on my longtime blog, largefamilytable.com. I'm also still offering my book, How to Meal Plan from Your Pantry, for free. I will have that linked down in the description below too. Coming up over here on the channel, we are organizing. You are deep cleaning and organizing the grocery store in my basement with me. I also have a big batch freezer cooking day coming up where we are going to prep. Well, we are doing this. We are going to prep not just homemade from scratch pizza dough. I've done that many times where I freeze the balls of dough and then I defrost them in the freezer and then I do the full-size pizzas from there. Coming up, I'm going to take an afternoon where I prep and freeze full-size homemade pizzas from scratch, and we are going to wrap them and freeze them that way. Like, think 10 to 12 large pizzas. Again, helping me get out of the emergency Walmart delivery pizza situation or even picking up emergency pizzas at Sharp Shopper. I'll do it when I need it with no shame in my mama game, but I would like to get ahead because when we do pizza for one meal, it's about 4 pizzas, and then if we cook ahead, which is what I like to do, where we'd actually have some leftovers for the next day, that would be about 6 pizzas. And I also need to perfect doing gluten-free pizzas as well. And then I have on my list coming up, we are going to prep to do another big batch freezer cooking day where we do gluten-free, sugar-free, also some dairy-free, healthy homemade desserts and snacks from scratch, and so many other adventures. Let me know in the comments below what kind of other big batch freezer cooking days you'd like to see from me as I work to fill my family's freezers and get ahead in life again. Haha. Thanks again so much for watching, friends. I appreciate you, and I'll see you real soon with another brand new video. Bye-bye.